Okay, now let's take a look at the communication model that we'll be using this semester as we explore the process of interviewing. So we start with two circles and in a Venn diagram, kind of setup. And what this represents is that the roles of the interviewer and the interviewee are interchangeable. We notice that here you have kind of the perspectives of the person who's doing the interviewing maybe, and here we have the perspective of the person who's the interviewee. And in the middle is where they create shared meaning. So one of the first things we notice is that we have an interviewer and an interviewee, and what it's important to understand is that these are interchangeable roles. At any time, the interviewee can become the interviewer and can start to ask questions and should ask questions, especially if it's a job interview setting, the person that's being interviewed or the person that's interviewing them. So this represents that those roles can be interchangeable and that it takes both people working together to create the shared meaning. And I mentioned in the previous video that there's a directive and non-directive approach. And depending on the context or the setup of the interview, the interviewer, the person who is kind of setting up the interview, may take a very directive approach and control everything. There's also the non-directive approach where the interviewee has an opportunity to exert some control as well. And then there's a combination of approaches where you may begin as more of a directive as an interviewer, and then as the interview progresses, you start to kind of loosen some of that control and it becomes a non-directive interview. Now, of course, we know from basic communication and from our relationships that perception plays a huge role in how we view one another, how we view ourselves, how we view the context of the situation. And, interviewing is no different. At the base level of perception is ourself, how we see ourself, which may determine how we carry ourselves, what's our self-identity. How do we understand ourselves? We're actually going to be going through quite a bit of self-analysis in this class because understanding yourself is key to being able to participate in an interview. How you answer questions, what motivates you to answer questions in a certain way. Those are important things to understand. So self-analysis is an important part of the interviewing process. But then there's also the perceptions that we create as we engage in communication. So, you sit down with someone to be interviewed, you're looking at them, you're taking in things about them, the way they carry themselves, their mannerisms. You start to kind of form expectations of that person and have some ideas how this interview might go just kind of based on what you see. So perceptions are forming throughout the entire process. And as we answer questions and as we respond to things, those perceptions may be evolving. But perception, just like any other relationship, is at the heart of the interview. We then have what we call levels of interaction. And there are 3 levels of interaction. Now, what we find is that the length of the arrow indicates relational distance. So think about relational history that I talked about in the past video. If you have a very short relational history with someone, then your relational distance may be far because you don't know that person very well. And that might determine the type of communication exchange that you have. So this is the most common, really, in interviews. You have a lot of distance, and the thickness of the line indicates that you're probably talking about a lot of different surface level things. As the relationship progresses, and as you get to know the person through the interview, you might move on to level 2 interactions. And the level 2 interactions tend to also still be safe, but you're starting to self-disclose more. You're starting to reveal more. And so again, that line becomes shorter because the relational distance is becoming closer. So in this one, we're still dealing with some safe topics, but we are starting to reveal and self-disclose some. Now in a level 3 interaction, this is the most personal. We're the closest to the person. We're discussing things in more detail, not surface level, and we're sharing more. We may feel more safe and we may feel more trust. Remember those relational dimensions that we talked about in the previous video? We may feel those a little bit more, so we self-disclose more. So as we analyze interviews, which we'll be doing in the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at what is that level of interaction that we are creating with this person and with this interview. Now, we also know that part of the communication process is feedback. So we're constantly looking at feedback to gain information that helps to feed into our perceptions, that helps us to determine how we should respond or how we should ask questions. So the feedback loops are also constantly happening. You know, communication is transactional. We're always communicating. You cannot not communicate. So the feedback is always happening. Even if we're not talking in that moment, or even if we are talking in that moment and providing verbal feedback, we're at the same time analyzing the person we're talking to, and they're giving feedback to us as to how they are receiving our information, and we may alter our communication based on that. So the feedback loop is very important in the interview process. And then finally, we have situational variables. We have all of those things that have an impact on the communication that we're engaging in. And that can be anything from things like the time of day. Are you a morning person or an afternoon person? That may alter how you see things. How's the room arranged? Is it hot? Is it cold? It's freezing in my office right now. We just got back to campus and it's freezing. So if I was to have an interview right now, the cold air in my office would make a difference. Personal space. You know, all of these things factor into our perceptions and how we take in information and how we use that information in the interview. Even things like our own previous perceptions, things that we have going on in our lives that don't even impact the interview process are definitely a part of it as we engage in the interview. So this is the model, and this is kind of what we're looking at. We're going to be breaking this apart. We're going to be especially looking at these levels of interactions over the next few weeks and looking at how we provide feedback during the interview process. And we'll be practicing some of these things as well. Let's take a little bit deeper look at the level of interaction, just so you can have some examples. So again, level 1 is safe, non-threatening, the most common, and distant. So one of the things that I do is some consulting, and so I'll go out and ask questions about leadership of a team or a group. And a very common question I ask is, how do you feel about the leadership of your team? I kind of start with this question often because it's kind of a generic question. They can kind of go into detail or be surface level, you know, and I might even also say, what do you think about? Because sometimes feel kind of takes it to a different level. But, you know, you could say, what do you think about your leadership? Just something that's kind of an expected question in the moment of that interaction. Our leaders are pretty good. So you're going to kind of get a similar kind of response. The cohesiveness of your team, we get along. So these are not threatening, you know. You can be kind of generic in your answers. Level 2 interaction gets at the beliefs, the attitudes, opinions. These are more of a moderate safety type question. So how do you feel about the decisions made by your leadership? So now we're getting into something a little bit more specific and detailed. They give a response. How about the recognition program? So we're asking more about their situation. And the more specific your question gets, then the more you're wanting them to self-disclose. Level 3 conversations are personal, they're more risky, they're the most uncommon. How do you feel about your new leader's decision to reorganize the structure of your department? If I came out with that question in a focus group at the very beginning, they would shut down because we hadn't built up to that level of them talking very specifically about the reorganization of their department. And so, but when you get to a point that you can ask that type of question, then you definitely get more of a response. And then you can talk about even more detail, what concerns do you have about the changes. So you can probe even more into kind of their feelings about it. Okay, so we're going to stop there. The next video will deal with questions and their use, but this just kind of gives you an idea of the foundation of interviewing and kind of what we're going to focus on this semester. Thank you.